Get this. So I don't know if you know what this is. This is an invite to a party at the Ukraine embassy. I don't know if you see who's sponsoring it.
Northrup Grumman.
Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. It's at the Ukraine house, everybody.
Oh, all the people hiding the UFOs.
On the occasion of the 31st anniversary of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ukraine. Get in the app. Can you look up that word, someone, please? Plenipotentiary. I'll just ask Siri. Hey, Siri, what's the definition of plenipotentiary? It's a person, especially a diplomat, invested with the full power of independent action on behalf of their government, typically in a foreign country. So that is a plenipotentiary.
At the Ronald Reagan building.
I hope we have those at our New Year's Eve party.
Defense attaché major. He's an attaché. I love when they use that word, attaché.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I always thought it was like a briefcase.
Yeah, attached. I thought it
like
meant
an attaché, but this says here, Defense Attaché Major General Boris Kremensky. I wonder if he's a Nazi. Request the pleasure of your company and guest at the reception Thursday, December 8th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Just 2.5 hours? You barely eat dinner. It's at the Ronald Reagan building. Oh, this invitation, non-transferable. Business attire, please. Military service dress, national dress.
Green T-shirt and khakis. You dress like Zelensky if you want.
That's a dig right at
the Ukraine at the
Please
embassy.
Don't come dressed like Zelensky.
They won't let you pull that shit at the embassy.
Yeah.
So the DC party invite shows all the money to be made off the Ukraine war. Events like this are part of the social calendar of Washington's Smart Set, with hobnobbing diplomats, think tankers, journalists, and U.S. officials. Guests took photos with the so it's like they have it's like Hollywood, it's like with the award season, and everybody has parties.
That's why they call it Ugly Hollywood.
That's what this is. Everybody just goes. That's why everybody likes to go to parties.
Yeah, people tax the rich on your ass or your pants and send a message. Events
like, oh my God. Even Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Staff, Mark Miley, showed up.
Miley. It's going to get crazy when Miley gets here.
Oh, man. The logos of military contractors Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Pratt & Whitney, and Lockheed Martin were emblazoned on the invitation as the event sponsors. Below the official Ukrainian emblems, an elegant blue script that said the Ukrainian ambassador and defense attaché request the pleasure of your company.
Well, they got all that money. We got to talk to get a deal on what toys you have.
It's really bizarre to me that they would put that on an invitation. One think tank expert told me the fact that they don't feel sheepish, you mean that they would put their names right on the invite?
Well, they help a lot of young women get into STEM careers, so of course they're proud.
The fact that they don't feel sheepish about it. That's interesting, explains an academic. Both spoke on the condition of anonymity regularly.
Because they were sheepish pointing it out.
That Ukraine and those U.S. military contractors have a strong relationship isn't surprising. America's allies and partners around the world bought some $50 billion in U.S. weapons last year. These four companies produce some of the most high-profile missile defense systems and anti-tank missiles that President Joe Biden has sent to Ukraine since Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded in February. Neither is it as surprising that Ukraine's government, which says its country has already suffered hundreds of billions of dollars in damage, might not want to deplete its coffers. But the explicit sponsorship indicates how intimate major military contractors have become with Ukraine and how much they stand to gain from the war. This isn't Vox. So there is no bigger bitch for the military-industrial complex than Vox.
I was surprised by that.
And the fact that they're allowed to write this really means that shit is egregious. Like, this is way beyond regular corruption.
So is there another faction that wants this bullshit stopped?
I just think that it's gotten so, crazy.
Yeah.
The invitation is clear expression of how war in Ukraine has been good for business. As Ukraine fights a defensive war against Russia's brutal invasion, they had started a war in the Donbass. Ukrainians in Washington have been pushing for the U.S. to send Ukraine more weapons. So far, President Joe Biden's administration has committed to a substantial $19.3 billion of military assistance since February. That's just military. We've given them tens of billions more money, and that just goes right into corruption.
Okay, yes, they're corrupt, but they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying. That aid has been integral. What's the difference between integral and intrugal?
Integral?
Integral?
Yeah.
Integral? Okay, that's why it's not even the word I'm saying.
I like intrugal better, though.
I like intrugal.
It's been intrugal to Ukraine's success is better.
The aid has been integral to Ukraine's success on the battlefield. Their armed forces first repelled Russia's advances and then launched counteroffensives that has retaken much of the territory Russian initiative. Yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, no wonder they're proud to be at a party.
So apparently you can write this article at Vox, but you still have to lie a lot.
No.
You still have to bullshit and do pro-war propaganda. So that's too bad. No one wanted to talk about the party invite, however. A senior official from the Ukrainian embassy in Washington confirmed that the company's logos appeared on the invitation, but declined to speak on the record. They directed me to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, which did not immediately respond. Lockheed declined to officially comment and deferred to Ukraine House and embassy-linked entity that was also listed on the invitation. Raytheon also declined. So everybody declined. Even some U.S. supporters of Ukraine say the overt sponsorship is a bad luck.
Is it like FTX bad? Or
Sustaining American popular support is absolutely essential for Ukraine's continued defense. It's not a defense.
Oh, so they're going about... So is the article saying, why are you putting your name on it? Don't tell people? Is that the gist of this?
Yeah, that just is like, look how brazen they are.
People are going to stop wanting to help Ukraine if you do this.
And so this is that tool, Matt Duss, that Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Party's eternal cocksucker, hired this guy, Matt Duss, who's a pro-war piece of it, pretend progressive. He's a faux-aggressive. Matt Duss, a Carnegie Endowment for International Peace fellow who previously advised Bernie. He said, so Ukrainian diplomats should probably think harder about how it looks for them to be throwing parties with the defense contractors who are making bank off of this horrible war.
Or you want to explain taste to them?
Yeah. There has been, hey, we're going to give you $45 billion in corruption. What are you worried about? Well, after I get the $45 billion, I'm worried about how it looks.
You're having a party. Like,
who gives a shit how it looks? You're going to get $45 billion.
Yeah.
Each of these stocks has climbed since Russia's invasion, with Lockheed up about 38% this year.
Oh. I got to start investing. I know who to invest in.
Honest to God.
Why haven't
Honest to God.
Why have I not invested in all these bad companies?
Not?
Yeah. Oh my God. What an idiot I am.
God damn. The Biden administration has been using what's called a presidential drawdown authority to quickly source high-end weapons from American stocks to get them into Ukraine, and then use congressional funding to replenish those. You're making it possible for the Ukrainian people to defend themselves without us having to risk getting in a third world war by sending in American soldiers fighting Russian soldiers, Biden told employees of Lockheed Destroys. They're preventing World War III. The good people at Lockheed Martin. And every worker, and they're not bribing the government to keep dragging out this proxy war. That's not what they're doing, right? They want it to stop. Every American worker in this facility and every American taxpayer is directly contributing to the case with freedom. No, you are a pawn in corruption from a mafia state.
Do you remember,
Every American worker at those facilities are a pawn of a mafia state in mass slaughter.
Do you remember that when the Clintons, when they raised taxes? And I remember this is a big point that they said they called it your contribution.
Yeah,
the tax raise, and the same thing. You're contributing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. At the airport when they ask, I say no to that.
Lockheed also produces the high-tech defense systems that protect Ukrainian cities under Russian not doing such a great job, though. Russians are in appeal to Washington. Ukraine has sought Lockheed's high-mobility artillery rocket. They're called HIMARS The U.S. has sent Ukraine 20 of the missile defense systems and is working to produce another 18, which will cost about $1.1 billion, according to the Defense News. Lockheed also makes another. Well, imagine if we were building housing like that for American citizens, or building hospitals during the. Imagine if we could fucking move that fast to actually help people. We can only move that fast if it's in the direction of corruption, and that's all this is. That $1.1 billion is not going to help anyone's life. What it's going to do is go into the pocket of a military-industrial contractor, and then he's going to give a lot of that money back to the Democratic Party. Then they're going to send it to Ukraine. They're going to give it to FTX. They're going to give it back to the Democratic Party. Then they're going to send it to somebody. You see how it works? That's what's happening here.
I mean, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
I just know that they're up to no good.
Lockheed also makes another precision missile system that has been sent to Ukraine. Last month, the U.S. Army awarded Lockheed $521 million in contracts to refill its own supplies, which have been sent to Ukraine. Why don't we just become defense contractors?
Yeah, right.
Why don't we make something that they use in war?
Right.
We are confident in long-term growth as domestic and international demand for a wide range of our products and services remains strong, says War Profiteers CEO James Taslett.
You keep killing them, we'll keep making
the money. In its most recent earnings call, Raytheon CEO and war profiteer Greg Hayes described a significant global demand for advanced air killing systems, especially in Eastern Europe, where we like to kill a lot of those motherfuckers, as the Russians and Ukrainian conflict, unfortunately, continues.
Oh, it's such a shame, but also...
That's the same, but can I have another $1 billion for this shame?
Make lemons into lemonade is how I put it.
I mean, somebody's got to supply the missiles. Might as well be us.
That's what heroin dealers say when they, if somebody you love is going to buy heroin, you'd rather it gets it from me. They're going to get heroin.
They're going to get it anywhere.
Yeah.
But he's really upset. He says, unfortunately, that the conflict's going to continue. And then his eyes began to tear up as he said that. And then he quickly wiped those tears away with a handkerchief made out of $1,000 bills. You ever seen a $1,000 bill, Kurt?
Not in person.
Yeah, you should go over to Raytheon.
If somebody paid me $1,000 bill, I'd be like, "Fuck you, dude. What am I going to do with this?"
That's what they use. You just have him on a roll in the bathroom. You just wipe your ass with.
Well, who's going to accept one?
That's what no one will accept it.
Because all you could do with them.
Arming Ukraine is a good narrative for these companies, especially after coming under intense criticism for selling bombs to Saudi Arabia, which have been reportedly used to kill civilians. And you mean these weapons manufacturers don't care who gets killed? They don't care if good people get killed. They only really.
What do you mean reportedly? Like it's up in the air as
I know
civilians were killed. I mean, people are saying.
And an embassy event for Ukraine is an opportunity for military contractors to show that they support the so-called arsenal of democracy. Military contractors support many research institutions and nonprofits in Washington, but the sponsorship tends to be more subtle. Their names appear in donor rolls or on the final page of a report, not on an invite below an ambassador's name, for F's sake.
Is this the thrust of the article?
This is it.
Show some more class with this?
We're just supposed to hide it more.
You guys are being a little Eastern European right now.
Yes. I've never quite seen this kind of public embrace of a country and the weapons contractors as it's happening with Ukraine. Bill Hartung, a researcher at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, told me.
They remind me of Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd, two wild and crazy guys. And that's how they have the party. Disco.
Yeah. I can't imagine another situation where the contractors would sponsor an event for a country that they're arming in the middle of a war.
Since when is a conflict of interest a problem? First of all, everybody in those various things is in the same friend group, so why wouldn't they party together?
First of all, the 30th, 31st, it's supposed to be ST.
Oh, yeah.
30 FTH? Really? Billions of dollars in military aid.
ST.
But nobody's got money for a freaking copy editor?
The 31th anniversary of the...
It's the 31st.
Plenipotentiary of Ukraine.
It's the 31st. 31st. 32nd. 33rd. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, December 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And we're going to be in Tempe, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.